Hello everyone and welcome to a game a lot of you requested as soon as it finished. It's from today's match, USA versus India, and it's a very different match than you're used to. You have 5 rounds, it's 10 minutes per player, so these are rapid games, but if the rapid games end in a draw, then they go into sort of an Armageddon where they have 1 minute on the clock with a 1 second increment. But even in rapid, they start off with 10 minutes on the clock or 5 minutes on the clock, or doesn't matter how much time they have on the clock. When they go below 1 minute, they start getting the 1 second increment. So it's a very interesting time format, and every round there will be an American player versus an Indian player, obviously, as it's USA versus India. So this is game 3 of their clash, Hikaru versus Gukesh, sort of a potential of what's to come in the future, as Hikaru is almost qualified for the candidates tournament. He has to farm a few more games. And Gukesh being the world classical champion, if Hikaru wins the candidates, we could see a clash such as this one. But okay, that would be very different from this. This is basically a bullet game with increment, which to me, I can play 1+0. I can play 30 seconds without increment on a computer. But over the board, 1+1, I don't think I could play that. But these guys, they just move so fast. It's incredible. And to make it even cooler, Hikaru opens with pawn to b4. The Polish opening, we have pawn to e6 by Gukesh, bishop to b2, and knight to f6. Sorry about no clock times this video, but they've messed something up and I can't get them to work. You can check out the official video and you will be able to see the clock times. Let me just get rid of that so it doesn't distract you. There we go. Knight to f6, we have pawn to a3 and pawn to d5. So a very standard setup, a3, b4, the bishop already fianchettoed. It's up to Gukesh to punish this insolence. We have pawn to e3, bishop to d6, pawn to c4, and castles kingside. And there is a game where queen to b3 was played, but here Hikaru goes knight to f3. And it is now as of move 6 that we have a completely new game. We have pawn to c6, pawn to d4, knight b to d7, and knight b to d2. We have pawn to a5 going after this expansion on the queen side, pawn to c5, bishop c7, and pawn to b5 by Hikaru. We have c captures, bishop captures on b5, and now pawn to b6, inviting pawn to c6, and Hikaru says, well, don't mind if I do. I do enjoy a nice passed pawn on the 6th rank. We have knight to b8, Gukesh now trying to go after the pawn, and pawn to a4. We have knight to a6 and castles kingside by Hikaru, knight to b4 and knight to e5. And while you could capture the knight, it is a very annoying piece to have to deal with, but this is just... even with a lot of time on the clock, this would be terrible. For a 1 minute on the clock, it's not something you want. So bishop to d6, clearing the c7 square for the knight. We have rook to c1, putting the rook behind the passed pawn. Nothing weird there. Knight e8. We have knight to d3 and knight to c7. We have knight captures on b4, a captures, and the bishop back to d3. Now with some ideas of maybe going after the black king, bishop to a6, countering the light square bishop, and Hikaru trades. We have bishop captures, rook captures, and pawn to e4, where Gukesh could definitely capture, but again, it just looks as if you're improving the position of the white knight. So instead, he goes queen to a8, puts pressure on the a4 pawn, and we have e captures on d5, knight captures on d5, and knight to e4, inviting the capture on a4. And Gukesh doesn't go for it. He goes bishop to f4. If you capture on a4 right away, then knight captures on d6. The bishop there is hanging, so you have to move it first. Bishop to f4. We have rook to c4 and rook to c8. We have pawn to g3, creating some breathing room for the white king. Also with tempo, we have bishop back to b8, and now queen to c2. Okay, now doubling up on the c file, the c6 pawn is nicely defended, and you will probably get the other rook to c1 as well, tripling up on the c file. We have rook captures on a4, knight to g5, now threatening queen captures on h7, pawn to g6, and rook to c1, bishop to d6, and queen to e2. Getting the queen ready to jump into the attack. Queen f3 will put pressure on the f7 pawn. Pawn to b5, attacking the rook, rook to c2, and now pawn to b3. We have rook to d2, and rook captures on c6. And it seems Gukesh solved all of his problems, and he's now on a path of winning the game, as he does have the pawn on b3 already. He should just trade everything, and that's pretty much it. Hikaru goes rook c to d1. He avoids the trade, and rook a to c4. Now, interestingly, you can play bishop to b4. There's no reason not to do it. For example, rook d3, rook c2 attacks the queen, queen f3. But you don't care about that. You can just kick away the knight, f6, and then enjoy a nice bishop on b2. And that's pretty much it. If you go knight e4, it doesn't matter. You can just capture. You can allow this, and then you just bring the queen into the game. Queen to f8. You can even give up this pawn, queen f7. And this is perfectly fine. But okay, I'm just showing this to crack the position for you, because this is 1+0, and of course players cannot see everything. So Gukesh went for rook a to c4, and now Hikaru goes queen f3, puts pressure on f7, queen to b7, and queen captures on b3. Getting rid of one pass pawn, but there's still another one on b5, and Gukesh objectively is still winning. Rook b4, we have queen back to f3, and rook b to c4, knight to e4, and bishop to e7, nicely controlling the knight on e4. We have knight to c5, Hikaru even trying to give up a knight and the d pawn to open up the d file and maybe put some pressure on that black king via the bishop and the queen. Gukesh goes queen to c8 and knight to d3. We have bishop to d6 and knight to c5. Gukesh strikes with pawn to b4. We have rook to a1, and the bishop captures on c5. Finally, he does capture. D captures, opens up Hikaru's light square bishop. Rook 6 captures on c4, on c5, and now rook d back to d1, covering the back rank. Rook to c2 and bishop to d4. We have rook 5 to c4, bishop to e5, and here Gukesh is still in a pretty, well, maybe probably objectively winning, and he simply needs to play rook c1, trade everything, and push the b pawn to victory. But he plays pawn to h5, and now all of a sudden he's lost, but Hikaru misses it. And it's a very easy move to miss, even though they have little time on the clock, yes, but, you know, Hikaru sees things with a second on the clock. It's not a problem. It's the problem is after rook a7, you don't have time to calculate both moves like rook c7 and queen to f8, because rook c7 is easy to calculate. You just play rook captures on d5, and that's it. You remove the defender of f6 and you checkmate. The trick is that you also have queen to f8, and now it seems like maybe it doesn't work, but still it works. Rook captures on d5. And then queen f6, and that's it. There's no defense. So I think it was merely a reaction to what Gukesh played. Hikaru instantly played pawn to h4. Now Gukesh is once again better. Queen to d7. We have king to h2, king to h7. And now, again, the move is possible. Rook captures on d5, removing the defender of f6. E captures queen to f6, and now rook captures on f2, so giving a little bit of material back, because you have to do it. You're in check. So queen captures on f2 and queen to e6, stopping another queen to f6 attempt. And here you can still go rook to a7. Rook a7, and you're just winning. But again, a little time on the clock. Bishop to f4 was played. Now the position is once again a draw, but easier for Gukesh to play as he advances the passed b pawn. Rook to c1, offering a trade, and now Gukesh is winning. But he needs to play rook to e4. Instead, he captures on c1. Now we're again in drawn territory. Bishop captures, king to g8, bishop to b2. Yes, it's drawn territory, but I mean, you have to defend against so many tricky checkmates. I mean, any move with the queen will be threatening a checkmate. So queen to e4 by Gukesh. We have queen to f6 by Hikaru, now threatening checkmate, and queen to c2 check. And Gukesh finds the perpetual. King h3. But now he has to play queen to c8 with check, and then just repeat queen c8, queen c2, queen c8, queen c2, and you know, go maybe to the back rank if the white king goes to the back rank. However, Gukesh played king to f8, probably why all of you recommended this game, and now Hikaru is just completely winning, and I'm sure you guys see it. It's actually a checkmate in one. Queen to d8. This is what Hikaru played, and we have a checkmate on the board on move 56. So Hikaru defeated Gukesh, and USA defeats India with a score of 5-0. If you have any games that you would like to see from the match in India versus USA, use that hashtag recommend suggestion, and I will gladly show you know, the games. Hope you enjoyed it. Very nicely done by Hikaru. Like I said, definitely different from a World Chess Championship match, but as Hikaru will probably most likely 99.9% qualify for the candidates. He has excellent chances of winning, as does everyone else. We could be looking at a potential future World Chess Championship match here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Robert Taratun, Rokaho, John Anderson, Ulrich Thini, and Gerard St. Pierre for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And if you also want to learn how to play pawn to b4 on move 1, first link in the description below, download Lotus Chess. And if you want to play that, Lotus will teach you how to play that to absolute perfection. See you soon.